know what I mean? He was talking mad shit about NBA YoungBoy, you remember?
Yeah.
And now that NBA YoungBoy thriving, what he doing? Dick riding. But when y'all clip this, make sure y'all bring up the videos of Boosie talking shit about YoungBoy.
Yeah.
But now that he thriving, he got, what it said, you can't beat him?
Join him.
Y'all gonna skip this though.
They ain't gonna skip it, goddamn.
They gonna skip this. Why? Because how much Boosie talked about YoungBoy?
Plenty.
But if you can't beat him, join him.
Listen close, because this story runs way deeper than music and way heavier than most people realize. What started as a single lyric ended up dragging decades of Baton Rouge tension back into the spotlight, and the city felt every second of it. When NBA YoungBoy dropped that track, Nussi, the reaction across Louisiana was instant and intense. People weren't just vibing to a song, they were reacting to history being dragged back up, names being revived, and old pain being spoken out loud. This was never just about a record. That one word cracked open memories tied to long-standing street feuds, serious court cases, and two hometown legends who once shared the same roots but ended up on opposite sides real fast. When YoungBoy said Nussi, it wasn't random. It was a reminder of something many thought was sealed away for good. The story reaches back to a major case that nearly sent Boosie down a road he might not have come back from. A respected figure lost in a brutal street situation, and a city that's been split ever since, choosing sides quietly but firmly. Baton Rouge hasn't moved the same since, and that tension still lingers today. To really understand how things reached this point, you've got to rewind. Both NBA YoungBoy and Boosie come from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but their connection is way more layered than most fans realize. Baton Rouge isn't huge. With just over 200,000 people, paths are bound to cross, especially when two major artists rise from the same soil. Boosie was already holding serious weight in the city back in the early 2000s, long before YoungBoy ever touched a mic. By the time YoungBoy was still a kid running around the neighborhood, Lil Boosie was already building his legacy alongside Webby, dropping records that defined an era. But Baton Rouge has always been divided. North side, south side, different sections, different loyalties. Boosie came up on the south side, down in the bottom. YoungBoy rose from the north. That might sound small to outsiders, but in street politics, that line matters a lot. When YoungBoy started buzzing around 2015 and 2016, Boosie was already stamped as a hometown legend. At first, there was respect on both ends. Boosie saw the talent, and YoungBoy understood the importance of honoring the ones who came before him. At the start, there wasn't even real tension between them. Believe it or not, things were solid for a while, and nobody was talking about sides or issues yet.
Speaking of that, how did you and YoungBoy resolve y'all issues? I remember YoungBoy.
Basically him just calling me, man. Like,
he had that song, I Hate YoungBoy, and he said, Boosie don't even call my phone no more. He don't even like me. Boosie, tell Boosie I don't need him. And then you expressed your disappointment for that on social media.
Right.
So how did y'all connect and resolve that?
I guess it's just, partners argue. He called me. He came home, he called me. And once I see him on FaceTime, man, you know, it ain't nothing but a smile, bro. Like, what's up, bitch? You know I hate thee, you know, like. And I guess from that phone call, it was all forgiven right there, you know, to see him home. And being happy to see him home. But, you know, I always, even though if we wasn't talking out, you know, like, I fuck with his people. You know, I fuck with Sharonda. I fuck with his people.
But this is where the situation takes a sharp turn. The first real cracks didn't come from diss records or public call-outs. It came down to something way deeper in street culture: respect and protocol. NBA YoungBoy was rising at a speed nobody could ignore. His numbers online were going wild. His name was ringing heavy in the streets, and the industry was locking in fast. But with that rapid success came whispers that his attitude had changed. Some people around Baton Rouge felt like he wasn't moving the way artists usually do when they come up under legends. There were expectations that certain lines of respect should be followed, especially in Louisiana. That's when Boosie reportedly started feeling some type of way. From his perspective, YoungBoy wasn't tapping in, wasn't clearing records, and wasn't showing that hometown loyalty the way it had always been done before. In interviews, Boosie spoke on how he'd always helped artists from Louisiana get their music released properly. He explained that he'd gone out of his way to clear records and support others, but when it came to YoungBoy, something shifted. According to Boosie, communication broke down, and the situation with YoungBoy's camp, especially involving Top, never got resolved. Whether it was business politics, label interference, or personal tension, that mutual respect stopped feeling mutual. The energy changed fast, and once that happens, things rarely cool off on their own. That's when subtle shots started flying back and forth. Nothing loud at first, but enough for people in Baton Rouge to notice. Boosie felt slighted, and in Louisiana, disrespect toward a hometown legend doesn't just get ignored. Soon enough, the streets started dividing quietly. People were choosing sides without saying it out loud. You were either rocking with Boosie or standing behind NBA YoungBoy, and that split has lingered in Baton Rouge ever since. As the tension peaked, Boosie didn't hide how he felt. He made it clear he believed YoungBoy had crossed the line. From Boosie's view, he had helped open doors for Louisiana artists long before the spotlight hit YoungBoy, and the lack of acknowledgement didn't sit right at all. Things escalated when the music started getting more direct. Lyrics dropped that fans took as clear messages, and responses followed soon after. What began as a quiet issue over respect had officially turned into a public standoff. While fans online were glued to every lyric and reaction, the real damage was happening in the streets. The divide was getting deeper, and opinions were getting louder by the day. From Boosie's side, the message was clear. He felt NBA YoungBoy needed to slow down, understand the hierarchy, and show respect to the veterans who laid the groundwork. Boosie believed the younger artist was moving too wild and ignoring the rules that had always mattered in Louisiana. To him, that kind of behavior had to be addressed before it spiraled further. But then something happened that caught everyone off guard. Against all expectations, the tension actually cooled down, at least for a moment. What changed everything was a powerful phone call that brought Kevin Gates, Fredo Bang, Boosie, and NBA YoungBoy together on the same line. This wasn't a casual check-in. This was Louisiana heavyweights stepping in to shut the drama down. Boosie later spoke about that moment with real emotion, explaining how overwhelmed he felt. He shared that the call hit him hard, especially considering what he was dealing with at the time. This conversation happened right after Boosie accepted a plea deal in his federal case, while family struggles, legal pressure, and uncertainty were all crashing down at once. That call came during one of the lowest points of his life, and according to Boosie, it mattered more than people realized. He explained that hearing those voices gave him strength when everything else felt shaky. He admitted that once people get focused on their work and goals, it changes how they move, and for a while, it felt like progress was finally happening. For a brief moment, Louisiana looked like it was heading back toward unity. Boosie even floated the idea of creating a full project with YoungBoy. Fans were excited, the streets were relieved, and it genuinely felt like the tension had been put to rest. Many believe Kevin Gates played a major role in making that call happen. He's always been known as someone who tries to keep peace and hold the culture together when things get messy. Fredo Bang also had strong reasons to want the situation resolved. Being Boosie's cousin, the conflict hit close to home. And here's a detail most people overlook. Boosie's son, Tootie Raw, has been a big supporter of NBA YoungBoy's music. He listens to it regularly, and that personal connection likely helped soften Boosie's stance at the time. Now picture this for a second. You're Boosie, and your own son comes to you asking why you're locked in tension with his favorite rapper. That kind of conversation hits way different when it's coming from your child and not the internet. Tootie Raw likely played a quiet but powerful role behind the scenes. Hearing your son bump NBA YoungBoy nonstop and genuinely rock with his music can shift your perspective fast. Tootie represents the newer generation of Louisiana fans, the ones who don't want to see legends clashing and cities divided. These younger fans just want good music, growth, and unity. Having that energy coming directly from his own household probably made Boosie realize the situation was bigger than just pride or ego. This tension was touching the entire culture, not just two names. And let's be real for a moment. Boosie understands that stepping into a full-blown war with NBA YoungBoy isn't about fear. It's about strategy. YoungBoy carries a different kind of presence, and people in the streets recognize that instantly. YoungBoy's reputation comes from real experiences. He's lived through intense situations, constant pressure, legal trouble, and people around him facing serious outcomes. His music reflects that reality, and that authenticity is exactly why so many people connect with him. When YoungBoy speaks on chaos and struggle in his lyrics, it's not just for shock value, It's drawn from his life. Boosie has dealt with enough courtrooms and close calls to know that escalating tension with someone moving on that frequency isn't smart. Boosie has already survived major legal battles, accepted plea deals, and built a legitimate business empire. Risking all of that over a music dispute wouldn't make sense at this stage of his life. YoungBoy is younger, hungrier, and still operating with that raw, early career intensity. Meanwhile, Boosie has children, businesses, and a legacy to protect. Sometimes the smartest move isn't pushing forward, it's stepping back. Age plays a role too. Boosie is in his 40s now, moving with experience and perspective. YoungBoy is still in his early 20s, fueled by emotion and momentum. Boosie likely sees pieces of his younger self in YoungBoy and doesn't want to watch another Baton Rouge artist self-destruct over unnecessary conflict. And make no mistake, Boosie isn't soft at all. He simply knows when a battle isn't worth fighting, especially when it involves someone from the same city who should be building alongside him. Just when it felt like things had finally cooled off, NBA YoungBoy shook the entire city with a move nobody saw coming. Out of nowhere, he dropped a song titled Nussi, and the reaction across Baton Rouge was instant chaos. For anyone unfamiliar with the history, that name carries serious weight. Nussi was a well-known street figure from Baton Rouge whose life was ended back in 2009. But here's where it gets extremely sensitive. Boosie was once accused in a case connected to what happened to Nussi, a situation that nearly sent him down a path he might not have returned from. That's what made this release so shocking. A song named after that exact figure dropped just weeks after a so-called peace call. The timing alone had people raising eyebrows everywhere. Either YoungBoy didn't fully think through the impact, or he knew exactly what kind of reaction it would trigger. The streets immediately started talking. Was this a coincidence, or was this a calculated move meant to reopen wounds that had barely begun to heal? Either way, the tension that had just settled was back at full volume. To understand why this hit so hard, you've got to know who Christopher Jackson, also known as Nussi or Mr. Badass, really was. During the 2000s, he wasn't just another name in the city. He was one of the most feared and respected figures in Baton Rouge. Originally from Easy Town, Nussi had strong ties to South Baton Rouge and built serious influence in the streets. He had his own crew, was making heavy money, and even started pushing toward a music career later on. Nussi owned his own venue, Club 225, and lived a lifestyle that reflected real power and status. In one of his last interviews, he spoke openly about his image, explaining that he came from the streets, but was trying to prove he could rap too. He said the streets supported him because he moved the old school way and earned his respect over time. But Nussi's reputation wasn't clean-cut. He was known for being ruthless and unpredictable. Stories followed him about robbing other dealers, even people within his own circle. There were rumors about him taking large amounts and vanishing without a trace. Nussi also had long-standing tension with multiple individuals across Baton Rouge, including people tied to Boosie's circle. That's why YoungBoy using that name wasn't just artistic. It was symbolic, controversial, and guaranteed to shake the city. Behind the scenes, the tension had been building for a long time. Territory disputes, money issues, and pride all collided. The same street politics that always lead to irreversible moments. Then, on February 9th, 2009, everything shifted permanently. That night, Nussi was finished outside his home on America Street in Baton Rouge. The situation was violent and shocking, and word spread fast throughout the city. Almost immediately, whispers began circulating, and Boosie's name surfaced in conversations across the streets. Federal investigators built their case around a teenager named Michael Marlowe, also known as Marlowe Mike. According to prosecutors, he was allegedly connected to Boosie's inner circle and accused of carrying out multiple street actions, including the one involving Nussi. The claim was that Boosie had placed a large reward, reportedly $30,000, on Nussi due to ongoing disputes tied to control and respect. Authorities tried to frame Boosie as someone operating from the top, using younger people to handle his problems. This wasn't a minor case either. The stakes were extreme, and Boosie was facing the most serious consequences possible. Early on, Marlowe Mike cooperated with investigators and appeared prepared to testify against Boosie. Prosecutors even pointed to a tattoo Marlowe Mike had, which they claimed suggested loyalty and threats toward others, something they believed supported their narrative. At that point, the case looked strong from the outside. But then everything flipped. During the trial, Marlowe Mike took the stand and completely walked back his previous statements. He told the court that he had lied and that Boosie never ordered any of the actions he was accused of. With that reversal, the prosecution's case collapsed. Boosie was ultimately cleared of the charges and avoided the outcome many believed was inevitable. Legally, he walked free, but the situation left permanent scars. Even after the acquittal, the streets never fully let the story go. Nussi's name remained tied to Boosie's legal battles, and people continued to debate what really happened that night. Authorities still pushed the narrative that Boosie had been running a wider operation and that Nussi was targeted because of unresolved disputes. But without solid testimony, the case couldn't stand. The truth became blurred between court records and street rumors. And that unresolved tension is exactly why the name Nussi still carries so much weight today. Federal authorities claimed they had everything lined up. Phone records, witness statements, and layers of evidence they said connected Boosie to what happened to Nussi. They tried to paint him as the brain behind multiple street situations, with Nussi's ending being the centerpiece of their entire case. But when it was finally time to face a jury, everything unraveled. Their key witness, Marlo Mike, suddenly flipped the script. On the stand, he admitted that he had lied to investigators. He said he gave false statements to improve his own situation and made it clear that Boosie had nothing to do with the accusations. Once that testimony collapsed, the case lost its foundation. Without their main witness, the prosecution couldn't hold it together, and Boosie was officially cleared. Legally, it was over, but socially, the damage was already done. Even after being found not guilty, Boosie's name stayed tied to Nussi in public conversation. That's why NBA YoungBoy releasing a song called Nussi hit such a nerve. It reopened wounds that had never fully healed and dragged painful memories back into the spotlight. When Boosie spoke on the song, his frustration was impossible to miss. In interviews, he made it clear how he felt about bringing up people who are no longer here. He explained that once someone is gone, he refuses to speak on them publicly or use their name for conflict. At the same time, Boosie showed restraint that surprised many people. He could have gone all out with a response track or turned the situation into full-blown chaos, but he didn't. Instead, he chose to step back. When asked whether he'd take a call from YoungBoy, Boosie's answer was conflicted. He admitted he didn't want to speak, but he also didn't wish harm on him. He explained that certain lines shouldn't be crossed, especially when it comes to personal pain and loss. You could hear the emotion in Boosie's voice. This wasn't just music anymore. It wasn't about charts, fans, or internet noise. It was about trust being broken. From Boosie's perspective, the situation hurt deeply because they had just settled their issues. The peace felt real, and then one song erased it all. By bringing up Nussi, Boosie felt YoungBoy crossed a boundary that couldn't be ignored. The pain here was real, and that's what makes this situation hit so hard. Boosie truly believed everything had been settled. He was open to moving forward, ready to work with NBA YoungBoy, and genuinely wanted to see Louisiana stand together again. Then that song dropped, and everything collapsed instantly. The Nussi record reopened wounds Boosie thought were finally healed. Any talks of collaboration vanished overnight, and that brief moment of unity in Baton Rouge disappeared just as fast. From Boosie's point of view, there was no coming back from that. Bringing up a name tied to one of the darkest chapters of his life crossed a line he couldn't ignore. What once felt like progress turned into disappointment and betrayal. This entire situation shows just how complex street politics really are, especially when two major figures come from the same city. On paper, Boosie and NBA YoungBoy should be building together, representing Baton Rouge on a global level and pushing the culture forward. Instead, old history, pride, and unresolved pain pulled them right back into tension. And here's the hard truth. This situation probably isn't over yet. YoungBoy is still young, moving off emotion, and not overly concerned with long-term consequences. Boosie, on the other hand, is a seasoned legend who won't allow disrespect, even if he prefers to take the high road. Something about this story feels unfinished, like more chapters are still coming. The tension hasn't fully settled, and Baton Rouge continues to feel the impact. At the end of the day, both of these artists are Louisiana royalty. There's room for both to shine, but when ego and street politics get involved, even success can turn into conflict. Now, it's time to hear your thoughts. Was NBA YoungBoy wrong for dropping that song? Could Boosie have handled things differently? And do you think these two will ever truly be on good terms again? If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into celebrity drama and untold stories. Don't forget to check out the next video on your screen right now for even more intense celebrity moments you won't want to miss. See you in the next one. We're just getting started.